There we go. Okay. So we have recording now. Got it. If you have an issue with recording, that's fine. You can change your name. If you're going incognito, looks like somebody did drop off for some reason. That's totally fine. I don't recommend in your car. If you can plant in front of a laptop, that'd be great. Because we are going to dig into your business. We're going to dig into your life. We're going to hit some pain points, which are all going to be good things. Okay. And we're going to go from zero to hero real quick. Okay. I cannot see there it is. All right. Hey, Charlie, what's up, buddy? Good to see you.
Hey, what's going on, man?
Good to see you. Gene in the house. All right, Adriana. Man, this is great. Okay, let me just make this bigger so I can see everybody. There we go. Okay. We are recording. We are live. All right, my name is Randy Wooters. As I just explained a second ago, I'm going to be your host today. We're going to be going through business planning. And honestly, as the title says, it's real estate business and life planning, because your business is part of your life and it's just one small part of your life. And actually, we're going to kick this off with an exercise. We're going to kick this off with an actual you do something first. Okay, so if you have a sheet of paper or a pencil, or you've got a little thing on your laptop or whatever, that's fine. Here's what we're going to do. If can you spare a couple of sheets of that? That'd be awesome for here in the conference room. And then if we have any pens, Ray, do you have, or somebody, you got like 12 pens in your jacket? If we had, I know we're going old school, piece of paper. Old school, right? All right. So if you're at home and you're on your laptop, pull out a piece of paper. This is going to be a good way to get this thing kicked off. I promise. This is going to be worth it. And by the way, I'm going to share this presentation and this document with every single person that attends. So don't bounce until I give this to you, but I am going to hold you hostage for a while before I share this. Okay. Because if I shared it right now, you guys all just bounce, call it a day. I know how this works. Busy realtors. Okay. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do to get kicked off is we're going to really kind of take a look at the whole picture of your life. And by the way, I'm not going to read every line on my plan here, but the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create what I call the wheel diagram and looking at our 7 F's of life. The reason is very simple. It's because we only have so much time in the day and we only have so much of ourselves to give to any one task. Okay. So what we're going to do is just draw a circle, and I'm going to do it on the board as well. We're going to draw a circle and, kind of fill up the page, right? All right. That's 100% of your life. Thank you, Tara. All right, that's 100% of your life, okay? You can't get any more. There's no add-ons to this, okay? Does that ever make sense, right? So put a dot in the middle. Here's what we're gonna do, is we're gonna build out a wheel. This is your wheel of life, okay? Now, these don't have to be equal, so don't worry about it, but you're just gonna make 7 spokes to your wheel, okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hey, that was pretty good. Not bad. So 7 spokes to your wheel. It doesn't have to be perfect. So, and it's not art class. 7 spokes to your wheel. And the reason is because each one of these is going to have one of the F's that we have. And it's on the screen. If you're looking at the screen, you've got the first one, and you can put these in whatever order you want. First one is family. Okay. Second one in my mind is faith, but you can put it wherever you want. I don't care. Friends, fitness, because I wanted to use health, but it didn't go with the F, so it's got to be fitness, right? Fun, because what good is life if it's not fun, in some regard, right? And then finances, and then of course freedom.
Freedom sounds fun.
Freedom sounds fun, and it can be fun. All right, so here's what we're going to do. I promise you this is going to help you create your business plan, because what good is a business plan if you die early, right? If you have no health, Or what good is making $1 million if you lost your family along the way? Or 5 million or 10 million? What good is it if you lost your faith? What good is it if you have no friends at the end of it? What good is it if the whole journey was so arduous and not fun, right? Then you become depressed and then lose your health, right? You can see that every single point on this wheel is important in some regard, and you're going to have different levels of importance. Here's what we're going to do now. You're going to rank yourself. A 0 is in the middle and a 10 is on the outside. I want you right now to put a dot somewhere on each one of these spokes and rank yourself for how you are right now. How would you rank your relationship with your family? 0 to 10. How would you rank your relationship with your creator or your faith or whatever you believe? How is that connection spiritually or whatever I believe this is part of your life. So how would you rank that? How would you rank your relationships with your friends, your health, your fun, finances, and freedom?
You said put dots like.
So I'll do an example. So right now I feel I'm somewhere around a 7 or 8 in my family.
Okay.
My faith, I wish it was a little bit better. My friends, actually, I've had some really good connections recently with friends. I need work on health. Fitness is kind of low. It's like a 3 or 4. Fun, I'm having some fun, but I'm definitely not having all the fun. Finances are doing pretty good right now for me. And freedom, I have a lot of freedom right now. Okay. Once we have this, hey buddy, have a seat, man. All right. So what we're doing is now that we have these dots, okay. And listen, there are no wrong answers with your dots. Your dots are your dots. We're not out here judging you about your dots. Here's what we're going to do. Let's draw this thing. Okay. Hey, yeah, come on. Let's grab some extra chairs. Here's what's interesting about our dots. If this was a wagon wheel, oh yeah, we got an extra seat right here. Would this thing roll? Would this life roll like it is? Mine, it would be clunky, but it would somewhat roll. It would have that right? Now, let's show an example though of a life that will not roll. Let's say that your fitness is way down here. Maybe you got a lot of work to do. Okay?
Justice life doesn't roll.
Right, and that's fine.
Yeah.
So here's the deal. Go ahead and connect the dots. And if you're just joining us, what we're doing is we're doing a little life wheel, a little wheel diagram that shows kind of what our life looks like before we start business planning. All right. In my mind, business planning is like putting a ladder on the wall and starting to climb it. But until we know where to put that ladder on which wall, we might be climbing and climbing and climbing and very successful and getting to the top of this ladder. But we realize we look down and we look around, we're actually on the wrong wall, right? And if you're a painter and you're trying to paint a wall and you end up on the wrong wall, you're not getting anywhere. When we design our business, we need to design it around our life, not the other way around. Don't design your life around your business, okay? And that's life on purpose versus life on accident, business on purpose, okay? Like I said, this will fundamentally change the way that you design your business if you take these principles to heart, because we're not in it just to make money. And if you are, your wheel is not rolling, trust me. Okay, so what we're gonna do is 0 to 10, just to recap, of where you are on each one of the 7 F's: faith, family, friends, fitness, fun, freedom. Where you are, figure out where you are and be real with yourself. If you're a 0, put a 0. If you're a 10, put a 10. Now, I know a lot of us, and that maybe I'm just speaking to myself here, but we're really hard on ourselves, and it's hard to give ourselves a 10 in anything, right? Because we're always so ambitious and we're entrepreneurs and we want to just, we always have room for improvement. But some areas, don't lie to yourself, you might actually be a 10 and be, encourage yourself. If you have a lot of fun and you love your life and fun and it's joyful and fulfilling and you just love, put a 10. Don't cut yourself short, right? But once we get started with this, now we can sort of see where our priorities lie, okay? And let's play another example here. Let's do one where let's do one that I would challenge you. Your business plan will change 180 degrees, the opposite direction. Okay. Let's say that you're doing very well finances. Your finances are a 9.5, and you haven't talked to your family, or you're on the verge of getting a divorce, or you haven't talked to your oldest son in 2 years, or your parents, you have no relationship with them. And because of that, you don't have a lot of faith in anything right now, anyone or anything. Okay. And maybe you're latched on to a friend or two, but it's not super strong. You've gotten depressed and your health is falling. I don't care. You might think your freedom's here. You're having a lot of fun because your finances are good. This is not a balanced life, and it will not lead to fulfillment at the end of it. Okay. This is a Tony Robbins quote, but it's very applicable in this situation. Success without fulfillment is worthless. Success without fulfillment is worthless. What does that mean? It means that you achieved the goals that you had, but you left everyone behind that you love. You lost your faith along the way. You lost all of the friends that you had, and the journey ended up being so monotonous and grinding that you had no fun, and you forgot that you need to take care of your body, and then you die early, and you've made all the money, but you haven't really led a fulfilled life. I will also challenge you to think, is the destination so important that you forgot the journey should also be fun? Okay. The journey is the sum total of your life. Okay. I'm sorry, I'm getting super philosophical here, but if we're going to design a business, let's design the business again around our life, not the other way around. Don't design your life around your business. Design the business around your life. Focus on the whole parts of you. Notice that there's no B in here. There's no business in here, right? The business will contribute to the finances. Okay. The business will contribute to the fun. If you're passionate about what you're doing, you can have fun doing it. Right? Notice there's no, and the business can lead to freedom. If you're building a business, that's the reason that we're mostly entrepreneurs. We're leading to freedom. But business in and of itself is not one of the spokes of the wheel. Okay? So think about that as you're designing your life and you're creating your vision. Now, where does the business feel in and fit and contribute to my life's vision? Not the other way around. All right. So if you're looking at the screen, you've got that. If you want to log into Zoom and turn off your audio, you can do that as well if you want to see it. I will be giving everybody a copy of this, but I'm going to wait because I don't want to give it out and then people kind of ditch me. I want you to hang out. All right. I want to encourage everybody to take the personality test on 16personalities.com. And the reason I say that is because it's really important to get to know yourself and what your personality traits are going to lend themselves to. Okay. 16 personalities was really revealing for me because it showed me some weaknesses and some blind spots in things that I didn't realize about myself. And ironically, you give your results to your spouse or significant other, and they're like, oh yeah, totally, that's you 100%. And you're like, the good and the bad, right? You read the bad parts and you're like, that's not me, is it? And they're like, yep, that's 100% you. And you're like, okay, right? So 16 personalities is better, in my opinion, than the DISC profile because it's far more in depth. Okay, it's about 130 questions. Okay, it's going to take you about 30 minutes. Here's how crazy and stupid I am. I did this for a date with my wife. And we sat in dinner and we answered the questions and we ate and we laughed and we talked, and then the results came. And I was like, oh, that's not what I thought I was going to be. But then I handed it over my phone to her. She handed her phone to me and I was like, yep, that's exactly you. And so I challenge you to do that. It will change kind of some things that you decide to put in your life and not put in your life. Okay. All right. So obviously everybody's heard of a SWOT analysis. SWOT, that's strengths, weaknesses, opportunity, and threats. That's mostly for your business. Think through that. This is going to be a different kind of a business planning session. A lot of business planning sessions that you've been to, they give you a nice little, documents, you fill in some blanks, you leave, and you're proud of your little business plan that you've got. And really all you did was start setting up a ladder and you don't even know what wall you're putting it on, right? So I'm doing this different. This is really explaining the homework that you're going to have to then go do. Okay, because nobody can do this for you except for you. There is no cheat code. There is no push easy button. The only one that can design your life is you. The only one that can design your business is you. I'm going to give you some really hard things to think about when you're designing it. But really, this needs to be some time that you spend alone and then come back together with your significant other and kind of carve that out. That leads us into number 2, which is you can't get where you're going if you don't know where you're going. Okay, so having a very clear vision in your life is going to be absolutely critical. So you have to answer some of the hard questions. What do you want to be? What do you want your legacy to be? One of the, I guess, popular things is like, what would you want your eulogy to read or your tombstone to say? At the end of your life, the sum total of all of your hours combined, what was the overarching legacy that you left? Was it super successful business person? Or was it, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying, what do you want it to be? And I don't want to put words in your mouth, but when you're designing your life and when you're designing your business, it should shape around that. What do you want your legacy to be? Okay. All right. So you can answer all these questions, but really we want to get to the deepest why. The deepest why, really what that is the internal intrinsic motivator that drives you every day to do the things that are hard, right? And that's not a new concept. There's lots of coaches and teachers and consultants and courses that teach you about the why, but you need to get down into the nitty-gritty, and money is not it. Money might be a means to solve for the why, but it's not it. I'll tell you a little story about myself. This is not about me. This planning session is not about me, but my why, I have a 12-year-old autistic ADHD child who was in a public school and not getting the services that he needs. And his life was headed in a direction that was really scary. He hated himself, and he hated his life. He had no friends. He was the weird kid. We started seeing in children like that, they express themselves in like art or some other things. We started seeing some horrific drawings, and an 11-year-old that draws themselves dead. I'm going to get talking about that. It's horrifying. And so there was such a need to change his course of life that I had to get into real estate and I had to hustle. I had a huge why because I knew I needed to get him out of that school and get him provided the right services with the right teachers and the right special ed and therapists and counselors. And that stuff is not cheap. They don't just hand that stuff out for free. Jay, how's it going, buddy?
Fantastic, man.
Sorry, you kind of came in at a tense moment.
Well, I was starting to worry about him, and I was going to ask you what the car was, and I started having anxiety about something happened to Jay before you said.
Yeah, so just having said that, my why, internal why, do you think it mattered how I was going to get that next deal? Did the how matter? No, I was just going to knock over a mountain to get the next deal and the next sale. So the how matters a lot less than the why, okay? Because the how will solve itself and you will do anything you can to learn the how. Once you have the why in place and you know why you're doing this, all of the little details are just that. They're just problems that need to be solved and you can go solve them, okay? Is everybody getting this? Is this good so far?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so section 1, we talked about the 7 F's of your life, and we drew our wheel. We've got this going, and we're starting to see some imbalance maybe. And if yours is a perfect circle, I congratulate you, okay? But if yours is not, and it's not rolling correctly, and it needs some love in the family area, if your family area is down here at 0 and you know you want it to be here, can you go out and sell 80 homes this year? Would that make any sense to you? No. What does 80 homes do to your life?
Takes it over.
You have no family life. Unless you've got some really good tools, systems, and processes and leverage in place, which we could talk about that in a little bit. You're not going to get, you might get the 80 homes. And then in 12 months, you're filing for a divorce, right? And I'm not trying to be Mr. Negative here, but I want you to feel the realness that our life is in this circle and there is no other additional circles, right? And you only have so many hours in the day. So prioritize and design your business around the life instead of the other way around. So if you want to increase your faith, spend more time meditating or alone or praying or whatever. If you want to spend more time with your friends, maybe you need to work out more. I've been really inspired by Ray over here, waking up at 5. He's working out. He's losing weight. He's getting healthy. This part is a priority to him. That might mean he spends an hour a day prospecting. That's going to affect his finances. His finances might go down, but if he's creating a nice, well-rounded life, that's okay. Again, fulfillment over success. Okay. All right. Now, my section 3, and by the way, I will try to keep this next section kind of fast because I'm just going to address a couple of things. And by the way, if you're on Zoom and if you have to leave, you will not hurt my feelings because we are recording this and I'll put it up on YouTube and share it with you guys later. Okay, cool. But do me a favor, if you're on the Zoom, drop your email address in there. I'm going to have Scott copy those and throw them on a doc. Okay, so drop your email address because I want to send you this outline and the recording. Okay, so drop your email address and we'll grab those. All right, now before listen, we haven't set any goals yet, have we? We're 30 minutes into this and we haven't set a single goal. Randy, what are you doing? We still don't even know the math around the goals that we want to set. How can we possibly set goals if we don't even know what the math around those goals is? I am an analytical person. If you know me at all, you probably know that already. Right. I want to know if I want to sell, let's say I want 20 listings this year. Okay. And maybe in your market, that's fantastic. 20 listings. What does that require as far as listing presentations? Right. What does that require as far as getting those listing presentations? I need to talk to at least double the amount of people on the phone to get the appointment set to go on the listing presentation to then hopefully get the listing agreement, right? So knowing the math, and we'll work through this really quick. I'm going to throw it on the screen here in a second, but having some sort of calculation, and I apologize, it's sort of small. And if you're in the room, you probably have a hard time. If you want to log into Zoom, even though you're in the room, you totally can if it's too small, okay? So let's say that I want to earn, I don't know, Jay, throw out a number. How much do I want to earn?
250,000.
I like it, $250,000. All right. Now keep in mind, we're looking at our life first. And if 250 makes sense for the wheel, right? And it makes sense to create a whole life, then yes, 250 is a great deal. Let's do that. All right. So what does that mean in as far as numbers go? Jay, how many days a week do you work?
5.
5 days a week. How many hours a day?
8.
All right. All right. How many weeks do you want to work per year?
2.
Not playing along with me very well here, Jay.
Just say one.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1 week. Let's say you take 2 weeks off. All right. So you got 50 weeks that you're going to work and you're going to take 2 weeks off. All right. All right. And we're just going to answer this question. Let me just define this really quick. Working in your business versus working on your business are two different things. And if you're an entrepreneur, you have to build out systems, processes, tools, training. Those are things working on your business, not just showing homes, calling prospects. That's working in your business. Okay. So Jay, how much percentage do you want to be working on your business to get to your next goal?
If it's 30%.
All right, 30 is good.
Thanks for giving me the answer.
All right, so what does that mean? He needs to earn $20,833 per month. Okay? And that means he's going to earn $5,000 per week, roughly, and some change. That means he has to earn $1,000 per day and $179 per hour worked. Let's take a look at this really quick. Jay, at your previous employment, because I'm picking on Jay, I love you, man. All right. At your previous job, let's say your last W-2, which is probably a long time ago, but your last W-2, would you say that you were worth $179 per hour?
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
All right. I love it. Were you getting paid $179 per hour?
No.
No. Okay. So you weren't making $250,000 at the last W-2. Now, here's what I love this analogy because so often people forget as entrepreneurs, we are our own employee and boss. And people forget, I just want to be the boss today. Well, who the heck's going to do the work? Okay. You can't just be the boss. You have to also be the employee if you're your own, sole proprietary, so sole proprietor, LLC, you're doing your own work. Do you want to be the best employee you have? Or do you want to be the worst employee you have? Right?
Yeah.
Are you worth $179? Is your work that you're producing, the calls you're making, the appointments you're setting, the listing presentations you're going on, the showing of the houses, your expertise, your knowledge of the market, is it worth $179 an hour? If it's not, your goal is you need to fix some stuff, right? Because you either need to get the training, get the expertise, step up your game, show up, and then you can start earning $179 an hour. Okay, again, being your best employee that you have. Now, for those that either have teams or small teams or growing teams, you will know right away that when you're the team leader, you are the hardest worker and you are setting the example and you are your own best employee and you want others to be just like you and work just as hard as you do. Okay. And when you're scaling and growing your business, you have to be able to look somebody in the eye and say, I know what you're going through because I've done it. It's hard to be a team leader and scale your next move, your next phase of life, if you haven't actually put in the work and you're not worth the hourly wage. Okay. So think through that. I want to challenge you guys what that feels like to be worth the hourly wage that you're earning. Okay. That should also change the way you show up to your presentations and your buyer's consultations and all that stuff. You should show up like you're making a doctor's salary. Okay. Show up like you earn it. All right. So Jay, what's the average GCI in your market?
I'd probably say 8,000.
Okay.
8, 10.
All right. So in your market, it takes about 31 transactions that you have to close, roughly. If anybody's doing the math on the side, you might find that there's some decimal points there, but we're rounding. All right. So 31 transactions total. And Jay, do you like the listing side or the buyer side better?
Listings.
Okay. Why?
You have more control.
You have more control. So would you say that those are more fun for you and that you would rather do them and that you enjoy them more? It's more fulfilling?
All day long.
Okay. Now that's just Jay's answer. Who in this room would prefer buyers? Great example. So,
I actually like working with buyers.
Okay.
Of course, listings bring buyers. So like,
Okay.
It depends on how you're actually asking the question.
I'm asking the question of what do you enjoy the most? Not,
Working with buyers.
okay, so we have one person that enjoys working with buyers. I've been on both camps at different times in my career. I can say wholeheartedly, I enjoyed buyers at one point and now I cannot stand them and I give them all away. But that's just me. Everybody on this is different. Again, we're designing this around our life. If we have no fun working with buyers, should we take all buyers?
Nope.
No. Just because you can make money on it, the journey is going to suck. We're not going to like that. So if you prefer listings, Jay, percentage wise, how many listings? 100%, 90, 80?
70-30.
70-30. I like it. So it's kind of realistic. You're still doing some buyers. All right. So therefore, you need to sell 22 listings and 9 buyer sites to reach your $250,000, okay, in your average market. All right, so let's look at the other side of the equation. Now it's getting down to the nitty gritty. And I don't want to spend too much more time on this because again, once you know your why, all these little details, they'll figure themselves out and you'll work hard and you go after it. But I want you to see how hard you actually have to work to put up some numbers. I want people to understand you have to show up if you want to blow up. I know that was stupid, cheesy. All right. All right, thank you. All right, so 95% of my listings sell. There's always the one or two that just the septic, the foundation, the whatever, the roof, it won't sell, right? You've had inspections, the seller backs out, whatever. So 95, is that about safe? Jay, I'm still picking on you.
Yeah.
Okay, so 95% of listings sell. Therefore, you really need 23 listings, not 22. Okay. Now, what does that mean? I put in a 60 because I feel like if you have any experience with sellers and listing presentations, 60% of your listing presentations you should lock up. Now, when you're first starting, that number is a lot lower. But if you're going on listing presentations, 60% of those, you should get some signatures. Okay, you should get a listing agreement out of that. Jay, is that fair? 60? Less, more?
Yeah, I just started.
I'm 100%. Wow, that's awesome.
I would say like just for beginners, it's probably more of a 50-50.
Okay, but I'm talking to you, Jay. And you,
That's good. Yeah.
okay, so 60. Okay, good. All right, so that means you have to go on 38 listing presentations. Okay, to sell 22. So keep that in mind. It's not just the 22. It's 38. All right. My Zoom thing is in the way. Let me get rid of that. Okay. All right. So that means 3 listing presentations per month, Jay. 0.8 per week, 0.15, right? If you're into decimals. The idea is that you're getting 3 per month.
Yeah.
Okay. Now buy side. All right. My written to close ratio, this might be different, but 75% is kind of high right now because
Very high.
with buyers and the extreme sellers market we're in. So what would you say that percentage really is?
30.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah. 30, 35.
Yeah.
Somewhere below 50.
Okay.
I just put a $900,000 deal in, went over 130,000 over asking, still didn't get it.
Yeah. Wow. All right. So that means I must write 27 transaction except, oh, I'm sorry. So that was, the first one was after accepted contract, did they close? So that should be higher. That one should be higher. So that's 75%, right? Maybe more. Once you're under contract, what's the percentage, Jay? 75, 80?
Yes.
Let's do 80. All right. Now, of the ones that you actually write that get accepted, that's the number we just talked about, 35%, right? All right. And so my met to signed ratio, so buyer's consultations and that first buyer interaction that you're meeting with them in person to try to get them as a client, what's that ratio look like? You know what I'm talking about?
Once you meet them.
You are
Like
experienced.
100%.
Ah,
Ooh.
No, who meets somebody and then doesn't actually, unless, I mean, I'd say the majority, I had it, okay.
Okay.
90.
Jay, are you getting 90%?
If you meet
Not
them-
everyone likes me, right?
Let's say 85%.
You might also
If
choose
I
not
met
to
them,
work with
which
them.
I
Yeah.
spoke to
Oh, and it's
guys-
also true, Tara's good point. You might decide not to work with them.
Correct.
Something's weird. You're just like, oh, this is super strange. Yeah, crazy people. All right, or not qualified, right? Okay. All right, so my set to met ratio of setting appointments and then showing up and you actually meeting them, let's just say 75% because they're showing up. You got a good hook in there. All right, spoken to set appointment ratio. This one should be kind of low just because, yeah, and maybe it's even like 5%. What do you think?
Spoken in any capacity, like just try to. get
Could be
them
cold call, could
to-
be
yeah,
anything.
when it's slow.
So I'd say maybe 5% is healthy.
Mhm.
All right. And dial just to pick up 2%, 3%. They actually just pick up the phone. You dial them, they pick up the phone.
Oh, yeah, them just spoken, okay.
Right. Spoken to, just at all. What is that? 10%?
100 call.
Sure. Sounds good. All right, Jay. you got to dial 10,504 people to reach your goal of selling 9
You doing that?
buyers.
Wow.
Okay.
That's why I was waiting.
That's good.
I know. All right, so let's take a look. All right. Now there's a separate section for just so I hit my goals. I set 100% of my appointments or my ISA or whoever. So I must dial 10,504 if you're doing dials, right? I mean, there's other ways to get business, but this is just one way. All right. And that means 875 that we spoke to, and then 263 that we set an appointment, 53 that we got them as clients basically, and then 9. Oh, I'm sorry.
What's the number of dollars?
I'm sorry, per month, per year, okay, sorry. So 10,500 per year, per month is 875, per week is 263. So that means you got to make 53 dials a day and 9 per hour.
Is that based off of the weeks you said you wanted to work, or is that based?
That's
off
based off 50 weeks, not 52.
weeks.
Yeah, it's
and
calculating
5 days
that.
a week?
5 days a week, 8 hours a day.
Every day you miss.
Now, remember that 9 dials doesn't mean 9 pickups. It just means a lot of people don't pick up the phone. So, all right. So let's break this down. New buyer appointments, 1 per week. New listings, 1 per week. Dials to reach my goal, 53 a day. Jay, are you anywhere close to that? You might be, because you do you hustle, man.
Right now, Michael, is that? No.
Okay. So let me ask you a question. And this is not just to Jay, this is everybody in the room and on the call. What happens if you're doing a exercise program and you're going great for a month and then you stop for a month? What happens?
Yeah, have to get back.
A, you probably are right back to where you started. And it's hard to get back on. It's harder to get back on the track, right? On the right track. For those that are good at fitness, the discipline of dialing is actually easier, right? Because discipline begets discipline. And so sometimes if you want to fix one area of discipline in your life, you take over one area that you can take over, because it will bleed into the other areas. And Jay, you actually just told me that last night, basically. I love that. I love that idea. If you want to take control of your dials, go work out every day. How is that related? Well, it's because I'm taking over an area of discipline in my life. It's hard for me, but that is something attainable. And that discipline is going to give me confidence. And I'm going to build confidence and faith in myself that I can do this, which will lead me a lot stronger possibility of me doing those dials. Okay. And if dialing is your business, that's great. If it's some other form of lead generation, that's fine. But you've got to be working on your business. And you guys now see that this doesn't come for free. I mean, this is going to take some work. All right. So that's, again, understanding the math before we're setting any goals. Jay, notice based on the math we just saw, is your goal still $250,000? Is it attainable?
Yes.
Should it be more or less?
I mean, the target should always be more.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So if you were to put down a number right now, based on knowing $53 gets you $250,000, and you're like, I think I could do 80 dials.
Yeah.
Maybe he's making 300 or 350.
Right.
Right. So think through that, and that will help steer your goals. Notice we haven't even set a single goal yet for you guys. You haven't even thought about your goals yet. Again, knowing the math before you set the goals. Okay. And I'm going to challenge you guys. It's on my thing right here, but I have a reading assignment. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, read it. Because your finances, your personal finances are going to affect your business finances, period. In a sentence, it will. Okay. All right. Now we're into goal setting. Yay, man. Scott's over here like, you're going long. Okay. Goal setting, always involve your significant other or partner, because their life is in your circle. Again, we're designing our business around our life. If your significant other is a significant part of your life, they should be at least aware and help with business planning. Even if they're not really business savvy, just have them in the room, include them, ask them, okay? Because your significant other is going to say, Yeah, 80 homes sounds great, but when are you gonna be home? What's that look like? Right? And so they might challenge to keep the circle a little bit more round, right? So before, and I love this, before we can do anything as far as setting a goal, we have to have absolute clarity on where we're headed. Now, this is an analogy that I love to use because it works well. Think about a race car driver going 200 miles an hour. The race car driver cannot afford to look right in front of his car. He will die, whoever. Why? Because they're driving 200 miles an hour and they have to look way out in front because they're going to be there in a split second. Does that make sense? So when we're designing our business, we have to look out front because our life is going faster than we know, right? Some of you are above the age of 40 in here and you blinked and you're like, where did my 30s go? Right? Or where did my 40? Like seriously, it happens so fast and we're in a race car and we're going 200 miles an hour and we're not looking at the next curve. And a lot of times we're trying to just let life happen to us instead of designing that path and saying, you know what, I'm going to purposely design the next 5 years of my life, the next 10 years of my life, because I see myself doing this. And so that's the next step is create a vision board with your partner. If you're not with somebody, that's fine, do it by yourself. But I guarantee you, when you do get a partner, you'll have to redo your vision board because now you've got somebody else in your race car with you. Okay. Your vision board needs to be extremely visual. And this is not my thoughts. I didn't create this. This is like Tony Robbins and a bunch of other folks that talk about this idea. My wife and I, story time, my wife and I did a vision board a year and a half ago after going to a Tony Robbins webinar. And from that vision, so webinar ends at like 8 p.m. We're up till 3. The vision board is covered. We're excited. We're nervous. We've had tears. We've had laughter. My wife comes from a very kind of broken background. I'll leave it at that. But basically, when it got to her turn to pick your life vision, like, what do you want to do? She had no vision for the future whatsoever. It had been removed from her to think further than the next couple of weeks. When you're kind of in survival mode, that's what happens, right? You can't see the future because you're just living for right now and you're trying to get through. Think through 5 years, 10 years, and be really clear on where you want to be. Imagine your life. Everybody close your eyes right now. It's going to feel a little bit stupid, but close your eyes. Where are you in 5 years? Think about your surroundings, the smells, the sights. Think about your bank account. Think about your trips, your family. Think about your faith. Think about all the things that make up your life, the 7 F's, and where specifically are you in 5 years? Once you have that vision and you can clearly say it and pull it out of thin air and put it on a board, the chances of you getting there are so much greater than ever before. Because now you can reverse engineer it. I want to be here. I'm here. Let's build a straight line. And let's build a phased approach to get there. Okay, John and I were just having this conversation last night over dinner. It's so much easier to plan around something you know is going to be there, right? Your vision of the future is where you're planning to. Don't just set goals without knowing where the end goal is. Where's the result? Where's this thing headed? So whether it's 10 years, 20 years, 10 years, 5 years, whatever it is, plan to that and reverse engineer it. Okay. And that's actually my next section is reverse engineering. Every single consultant client that I have, I always start with this and I say, where can you see yourself? I don't care about business. I don't care about any of that. Where do you see yourself in life? Doing what, making what, having what, being with who? And then let's just reverse engineer that. Let's get you to there. Oh, well, I just don't know how I can do that. I don't know how I can do that in 5 years. Well, all you have to do is connect the dots to where you are now It might mean working really hard, or it might mean working less. Just depends on where you want to go. I wrote down, in fact, this would be a good little exercise. We're going to write down 3 goals right now in 5 years, and we're going to write I am statements. So if you have a piece of paper and a pencil, you're going to write 3 I am statements. Okay. I'll give you some examples, but I'll let you go do your thing. You're going to write down I am, whether it's happy, healthy, fit, successful, awesome, you know, whatever. I want you to write 3 I am statements and think about your whole family. Think about the 7 F's. I am what? I am. And that's for you to answer, not me. I have my 3 and they're on my wall on a cue card right in front of my screen every day. And it's so easy to remember 3 things because it's only 3 things. I'll give you a hint on what mine are, and I read them every day. So mine are the healthiest I've ever been. Mine are my family feels like they have their dad back. And then I'm more successful than I've ever been. Right? There I am, or I have, or something like that statements where I'm physically seeing myself there. I'm healthier than I've ever been. I'm more successful than I've ever been. And my family feels like they have their dad back. Those are driving forces for me in my business. Now, when I have a hard time making dials or connecting with follow-up, I look at those 3 statements and I'm like, oh yeah, I can't get there if I don't do this. Now, under that, I want you to write 3 more statements. Knock and the door will be opened. Ask and you shall receive. And there's one more that's just escaping me. Thank you. Seek and you shall find. So knock and the door will be opened. Ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you shall find. Those are 3 statements that most people don't really truly believe in their life. Oh, well, I'm not good enough. And then, the world's conspiring against me. Whatever. I think it's the opposite. I think you actually just self-defeated and you're living your own self-fulfilling prophecy of I can't or I shouldn't. Okay? Because I guarantee you, if you thought you could and you can and you will, you will. Okay. Another assignment is read the book, Awaken the Giant Within, Game Changer, Tony Robbins. All right. We're going to talk about SMART goals briefly. Once we start setting goals, no matter how big, no matter how small, they have to be SMART goals. SMART, S, specific. Don't make random, crazy, vague, broad goals. Make specific goals that are measurable in some way, measurable in some capacity, attainable, which means you have the skill sets, you have the knowledge, or you can go get the skill set and knowledge to actually do that. Okay. Relevant to the wheel, relevant to your life, relevant to where we're headed. If it's not relevant and it's totally off, in left field, bless you, then it probably shouldn't be there. And then of course, the last one is time bound. So that's a SMART goal: specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time bound, which is when will I complete this goal? Now, I actually firmly believe that time should be flexible because a lot of times I achieve my goals before I thought I would. And then now I'm setting new goals. So I have myself set up on a 10-year retirement plan, and I'm actually 3 years ahead of that goal right now, which is really fun to talk to my wife about. Okay. It's like, oh my gosh, we're 3 years ahead. And if things keep going, we're going to be 4 years ahead and it's going to be amazing. Right. But make sure that it's time bound in some way. Okay. Somebody's talking. Somebody need to be muted.
I think that you're back as the host because I just disconnected.
Uh-oh. Hold on. Are we still recording? 1 second, guys. Okay. Is everybody still good on the Zoom? Send me a chat really quick. Thumbs up, or we're still good. Okay, got it. Scott, can you still see the chat and everything?
Yep, I got it.
Okay, so we're good. Okay, cool. All right, let's continue on. Engineering. I love engineering. Engineering some stuff. We're going to reverse engineer those goals. And we're also going to remember that time is the only thing we can't make more of. We can make more money. We can do all kinds of things. Story time. 2016, divorced, broke. I gave her everything. She deserved nothing, but I gave her everything, right? I said, I can go make all that money back. And I did. And I did. Money meant nothing, right? Let me start over. I know I can do this. Started completely over. So it's not always the money. The money can be recycled and recreated. The time you can't get back though. Time you can't get back. So focus on when you're planning this. Consider your entire day, week, month, and year. All right. We just did a scenario for Jay as far as making 250. We talked about that, making that in a year. We talked about how much time he would have to spend and how many dials he would have to make and what kind of focus he'd have to have. All right. We're going to chunk big things into smaller things. And that is a strategy called chunking. I know it sounds kind of weird, but that's a strategy that's legit. When you're in project management, you have to chunk down projects. Some projects are so big that you can't even see the end result until you start looking at the smaller things to get there. Okay, so chunking down a big project makes it palatable. It makes it something that I know what my next step is. Okay, everyone in this room, everybody on the Zoom has the power to solve problems. I know that because you're all in real estate. You would not be in real estate if you couldn't solve problems. Okay, you would not be an entrepreneur if you couldn't solve problems, which means you can take a big goal and make it into a bunch of small goals. Okay. When you condense that into a bunch of small goals, now you've created an action plan. Now you know what the next step is. And this, I kind of don't like this analogy, but it's the only one that makes sense to me right now is how do you eat an elephant? And that's one bite at a time, right? It's a very large animal, but one bite at a time will get it done. Sorry. Okay. Now, how are we going to do this? We're going to use my favorite 3 words and 3 words that I live by at eXp Corporate for the last 3 years, which is automate, delegate, eliminate. This is how we're able to take a company and grow it super fast in the background with all the tools and systems and resources is to automate, delegate, eliminate. But guess what? This translates into your business too. This translates into anything that we can automate. We should. We can find a tech solution. We can find something to make it happen all by itself. Okay. Now you can't automate your buyer's consultations, right? Those can't be automated. Those are people to people. So anything that's a person to person thing, you can't automate, but you can delegate so another person can do it, right? A buyer's agent. Those can be delegated. So think about how you can delegate some things. An admin can make calls, an ISA, a VA, they can make calls. You can delegate. Again, we're trying to get to the $179 per hour. So if somebody else will do it for 10, is that a wise decision? Could be. Leverage, right? And then the last one is eliminate. All right, we're gonna do a little exercise. Everybody pull out your phone. Everybody pull up your screen time. Oh yeah, pull up your screen time. Pull it up. Pull up your screen time. If you have an iPhone or Androids have that too, right? There's screen time.
Mine's not even on.
What?
My screen time isn't even turned on.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, for those that don't have screen time turned on, what it does, if you're on an iPhone anyways, is it actually tracks how much time you're spending on different kind of apps. And it will track how many hours you wasted on Facebook and Instagram and Snapchat and TikTok.
That's business.
And listen, some of it is business, but I guarantee you, if you do what we call batching and you batch your posts for the week on a Sunday night or Monday morning, if you batch your posts and it takes you 30 minutes to do 7 or 8 posts, That's way more efficient than 30 minutes every single day.
What did
Okay.
you say? What was it? We were looking at each other like. "Whoa."
All right.
What
All
did
right.
you just say there?
Batching. Batching is more efficient with your time. So you can eliminate the 30 minutes a day or 4 hours a day by batching your posts on 1 day a week
Mhm.
and batch for the whole month. Okay, so the word batch is very important when we're talking about marketing or if we're talking about anything like that. So guys, I say that to only say I'm not here to judge you. I do it too, but you have to eliminate some stupid stuff in your life that you're just wasting time on. Okay.
Mhm.
And I don't know what that is for you, but you do.
Yeah.
You know what it is. And that's not helping you get to any one of these goals. Nothing here. So eliminate what you can. And I was telling John about this. One of the things that I've done and kind of put into my life is I became, and I hate reading, but I became a voracious reader about a year ago. And I have a stack of books now by my bedside. But one of them, and I branched off, and one of them was a feng shui book, which I knew nothing about. But I love the idea now of nice spaces and clean and simple environments, because that actually declutters my brain by living and being in a place that sets me at peace versus a place of clutter and disaster and chaos. That makes me anxious. That makes me not functioning at my highest level. So things like that, where you can eliminate some junk, some clutter in your office and in your life that doesn't need to be there, that's really unknowingly or subconsciously holding you back, right? Keeping a clean desk, that was a struggle. I was a teacher for 12 years, guys. I taught physics and chemistry for 12 years. Clean desk was a nightmare for me. It was always just mounds of papers and stuff. And I look back at that and I go, you know, that's probably part of my stress, right? Okay. All right. We cannot successfully run a business of any kind without reflection and visualization. Okay. Reflection and visualization are how we know we're on track, we're meeting goals, we have some form of reporting, some form of analytics, and then we're actually thinking through where we said we were going. It's like going on a trip and saying, I'm going to drive from Parsippany down to Orlando, and I'm not going to use a map and check the map as I go. Are you going to get there? I don't know, maybe.
Definitely, I've done it so many times.
Okay. All right. If you get on 95 and you just kind of ride it, but all right. Sure. Okay. Bad example. Maybe like Alaska, right? Something that's just like, you know, whatever. The idea though is like you're trying to go on this journey and you're never looking at where you're going. It's impossible to stay on track. Reflection and visualization are critical to every business. So where am I? Where have I been? Where am I going? Visualize the destination again and again and again. We want to make sure that we are committed to the goal and to the journey and the discipline of getting there. And we're daily and weekly goal setting. Who in here sets a goal every day? Small, but a goal. Okay, good. Most of you. Who in here sets a goal every week? By the end of the week, I will have this done. Okay, good. Most of you. All right. Those are good chunking activities. You're taking a huge big goal and you're saying, okay, I need to do this every day to get to here. And I need to do this every week to get to here. Chunk down the big goals. We reverse engineering, right? And you got to have daily goals, and then you got to actually accomplish those goals. I'm sure that some of you guys write to-do lists. Who's a lister?
Oh.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question. Does the list give you fulfillment or anxiety? Which one? Fulfillment or anxiety?
Well, checking off of it is very good. feeling.
Okay, yeah. But if you don't check it off, what happens? I mean, how do you feel?
Well, even when I check it off, I had to, so.
Yeah.
Everyone.
So I say that because I'm a list person, right?
Mhm.
But I also know if I make my list too damn long, I get I'm like, I feel like a failure almost, like, oh, man, I did nothing today. Forgetting that I did all these other things, right? And I've had people ask me all the time, like, dude, when do you sleep at night? You get so much done. This is the next homework assignment. It's a book called Deep Work by Cal Newport. Deep Work. change your life. If you take it to heart and you do it,
By Cal.
Cal, C-A-L,
Yeah.
it's on the thing as well.
Oh, I just can't read.
There's also another one, James Clear, Atomic Habits, beautiful book, awesome stuff. But the idea that you can focus for longer than 10 seconds. I know in our TikTok world, it's 15 seconds and we're on to the next, but listen, there's so few people in the world that now can focus for 90 minutes, 3 hours, 4 hours at a time and stay focused. It's becoming very rare that people can do what's called deep work. That's undistracted, focused, accomplished work. Okay? It doesn't exist. If you're like me and you have 4 screens at home, you've got your email here, you got your calendar here, you got your text messages here, you got your, it's just inundation. And it's not focused deep work. So when I'm doing deep work, I shut all the other ones off and I'm only looking at the one screen I'm working on. And I set a goal for myself and I say, okay, I'm stopping in 4 hours, no matter if I'm done or not, because I mean, I'm going to work really hard for 4 hours. And I shut my phone on silent. I tell my wife, I'm on, you know, unless it's an emergency, don't call me, don't text me, don't mess with me. I'm focused for the next. I put my phone on do not disturb, and my clients will call and it just automatically says, I'm with a client right now. I'll call you back later. Right? They don't have to know what you're doing, right? You're with a client, they don't, or you have an appointment just with yourself. The idea is deep work to accomplish the hard tasks that you need time to sort through. And maybe that's working in your business, maybe that's working on your business, but you've got to focus sometimes because that'll set you apart from every other person who's building a business that's just running around distracted. Everything is everything is important, everything is urgent, but really when that happens, nothing is important and nothing is urgent, right? Because everything's just like, how many of you guys know a realtor that can't sit still and you wonder if they're going to die of a heart attack because they're just so sporadic and crazy, and you're just like, oh my gosh, calm down, man. I know a guy like that. He sold 93 homes down in South Jersey and he doesn't track anything on a CRM. It's all on his phone. And I'm like, bless your heart. You know, he's doing great, but he has no life. He's just running around closing deals. You know, I just ask that you would focus long enough to accomplish certain tasks. Deep work, amazing. Okay. We're not going to get through everything today, but I'm going to get through as much as I can. I'm going to kind of hit this next couple of sections at a high level. And by the way, everybody does you all get a copy of this, so don't feel like you have to write everything down. Just if it's different from what's on here, write it down, or if it means something to you. So no matter what brokerage you're at, you need to leverage those tools, systems, and training to reduce your out-of-pocket expenses. And if you're, oh, I have to delete them in. Okay.
I'm sorry.
And listen, every brokerage has tools and systems, so leverage those things. Jay, I'm going to pick on you for a little bit.
Yeah.
He knows what I'm going to talk about.
Do I?
Yeah. So Jay loves dot loop. Okay, fine. Love your dot loop. Fine. I get it.
Don't talk about
We do have a tool that he could use, but he would rather use the tool that he's comfortable with. That's fine, but he is paying an extra $30 a month. Okay, that's fine, but it is worth it if he's not going through a bunch of grief to do something and it becomes a pain point for him. So if it's worth $30 to not be a pain point, great, do it. But if you learn something else and it works and you can save 30 bucks, again, utilize your systems and tools that you have if you have them. The shiny, Scott and I were talking about this earlier, the shiny object syndrome. Anybody ever have that? The best new tool, the best new thing, I gotta have it. Anybody here a collector of, like, I don't know, musical instruments or guns or any kind of things like that? No? Man, nobody collects anything. All right, well, shiny object syndrome is very real for agents because they want the next new thing that's going to make them the next deal, right? So just be wary of the shiny object syndrome, right? The next new lead source or the next whatever. Navigate what you have and make it work for your full advantage. That's what my point of this is. Use what you can for as cheap as you can, for as long as you can, until you no longer can. Okay, oops. All right, lead gen, conversion, and lead flow model. Who in here has a lead flow model or even knows what a lead flow model is? Raise your hand. Nobody? Okay.
I mean,
Jay kind of does. Jay, we've talked about this. The idea of a lead flow model is a visual representation of where you find your leads and where they end up going in your business. You cannot develop a system. Think about McDonald's, okay? How was McDonald's so profitable? They developed a system for making sure that those fries end up golden brown every time, okay? And they have a system in place and a flow of how those things happen in order to produce exactly the same result every time. Without a lead flow system, you're kind of doing things by accident. It's just happening. You're doing it, but you don't really know how it got done. Okay. Create yourself a lead flow. And I'll show you an example of one, just so you know kind of what you can do. You can use it on Google Slides or let's see, lead flow. Here's my little team. Okay, I just use Google Slides because it was easy and you can create boxes, little arrows. Guys, make whatever you want. I don't care if it's a scratch paper, poster, whatever you want. The idea is, where are my leads coming from? Think of this as a sideways funnel, right? My leads coming from, where are they? And I can always add and subtract lead sources. Where are they going to? My CRM, right? Or whatever we got.
KV Core should be the center of where everything is going. So, because that is your database. So
Your database should be the center, right? Everything needs to go there. The only reason I have an arrow pointing to team leader for the first couple is sometimes my sphere of influence is going to just call me directly, right? Think about that. They know you, they're going to call you, period. And then you put them into the CRM if they're not already there, okay? Now, if you've got some other things going on here, you've got some follow-up services or some other things going on, that's fine, but it all needs to point back to your main hub of database. Okay, and then where does it go from there? And if you've leveraged and you have a buyer's agent or two, figure out how that flow works. Everybody's lead flow is going to be a little different. I just happen to use this because it worked for me. But visualizing your lead flow can help you scale your business. Fix the steps, solve the problems, systematize, and duplicate. Once you systematize something, you can scale it. You can't scale something that's not systematized. Okay, so challenge you to think through that. If anybody wants a copy of my lead flow, you can ask me and I will give it to you. It's free. Okay. Okay, totally fine. Totally fine. You'll catch it. It'll be on YouTube later.
yeah, I'll watch it.
All right.
Thank you.
Now, this goes without saying. There's one very important thing everybody needs to know is that leads are the lifeblood of your business. If prospecting is not first and foremost numero uno in your business, you're going to run out of business eventually. It might take 90, 60, 90 days or 6 months or a year, but you're going to run out of business. And then if lead flow is not a priority in your life, in your business, then you're really kind of just waiting for the phone to ring for a sphere of influence or what? How does that work? That's why agents do 2 or 3, 4 deals a year when they're just waiting for the phone to ring. That's real estate by accident. That's not real estate on purpose. I mean, think about that. So lead flow is super important. Figure out your lead flow because it's the lifeblood of your business. Now, the need for scripts. Who in here has learned a script at some point? Most people, hopefully, yeah. Scripts get a dirty word. I mean, they kind of get a dirty name. People don't like, I don't want to learn scripts. Listen, scripts build confidence. You internalize the script, you turn it into your own words, and then confidently say those words. Never, write this down, never practice on your clients. You've all heard practicing medicine. I'm not going to pick on doctors, but the idea of don't practice on, surgeons have to practice on cadavers and animals and
They're
stuff.
still practicing every day.
And they're still practicing every day, right? Don't practice on your clients. If you want to try out a new script, role play it with another fellow realtor first.
or record your voice on memo.
Oh, yeah, that works too.
And I do it all the time. I'll say it and then I'll play it back to myself and see how I sound.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Conversion rates. Does anybody in here know their conversion rates? Anybody know what their numbers are? Tracking and reporting and knowing your conversion rates are absolutely critical in knowing how to scale and improve. If you don't know where you're at with conversion rates, how the heck are you supposed to get better at it? You can only get better at the things that you track. Okay, does that make sense? All right, and last but certainly not least, the follow-up plan is the gold. That is the gold mine, because leads don't always convert on the first conversation. So the follow-up plan is critical. Okay. Think about how much gold is sitting in your database right now. If you called every single person when you got home today, could you find a deal today? Probably. Now, if you have no database, there's where you start first. Let's get people in your database, right? If you're a new realtor, build a database. How do you build a database? Talk to people and put them in the CRM. It's that simple. It's not really a hidden secret, right? Talk to people. It's that simple. Now, once there's in the database, you got to keep talking to them. Might be a text, might be an email, might be a phone call, but you got to keep talking to them. You got to be in front of them all the time. The gold is in the follow-up. All right, put a plan in place and make it duplicatable, systemizable. And if you can automate some of it, do that. Remember, automate, delegate, eliminate. Okay.
For instance, like it could be all three of those: phone calls, emails, text messages. Because, like, for instance, everyone who goes in my database automatically email on newsletter once a month. They get a phone call, they get a text message. So it's about consistency and spreading it across different platforms,
Right.
Because everyone communicates differently. So it's just increasing your odds.
So I'll say that again for people on the Zoom, is that we're going to use all different formats of communication because it does increase your odds of connecting with that person. Okay. All right. Daily habits. I know we've talked a little bit about this, but we have trackers. If anybody wants my trackers, just send me an email. I'm happy to give them. Some of them are mine and some of them are not mine, and I'm happy to tell you whose they are once I give them to you. But the idea is, when you wake up in the day, you know what you're doing. There's so many realtors that wake up and they don't know what to do in the day. How do I become a successful realtor? Do the activities of successful realtors. It sounds simple, but people don't know what those are. Okay. All right. And if you're a team leader, you're going to have some sort of attraction in your daily. All right. If you're building a team, growing a brokerage, doing something, you have to have attraction in there. And you have to be consistent with it. I don't know if it's daily or 3 times a week or whatever it is, but you have to have that if you're going to scale your business. Okay. Anybody in here interested in hearing about building a team? Anybody? Because we can skip this section if we don't need to get into this for now. If anybody wants to talk about it offline and go further into it, that's actually what I do for the consulting part, is I help people build a team. So if that interests you, we can do that. But essentially, you need to have everything in place and be successful as an individual before you can build a team, because you can't duplicate something that's not successful. I mean, you can, it just won't be successful, right? Be successful first and always lead. And Jay, you had a good graphic for this. I don't have it on me, but always lead from the front, pull, right? You're the one who's saying, I've been here, you're going to go with me, right? And as a team leader, your goal should always be to lift your agents up higher than you, right? And if your goal is not that, then maybe you need to figure out what it is that you're trying to get out of being a team leader. Okay. All right, scaling, and this is even for individual agents, but scaling and building your leverage, these are really important parts of taking your dollar per hour up. Okay. If you took all the total of your hours that you spent in the year, divided it out from the total money that you made in the year, how much do you make per hour? Think about that. Now, how do we take that number up $100 or even $1,000 per hour? Well, it's called building leverage. If you can pay somebody to mow your yard on a Saturday, and that's 2 hours that you saved either towards one of these things or towards your business, it was worth paying somebody 2 hours for 2 hours of labor. Okay. If you're worth $200 an hour, it's okay to pay a lawn guy to do, you know, $40 or whatever it is. Okay, so same goes with cleaning your house. Maybe you love to clean your house, and then if that's fun for you, keep it. But if it's not fun for you and you absolutely hate it, and it takes 4 hours of your week or 7 or whatever, then hire somebody. Leverage that. Because do the things that you actually love to do, or work on your business while that person's cleaning your house. Leverage where you can, not just in the business areas, but in life areas that can give you more time to do the things that you want to do in building your business. Okay? And there are some really quick and easy wins with that. Everybody, here's a homework assignment. This one is not easy. And this is the first assignment I give every single client I bring in. And they hate it. And this is how I know if you're going to be successful in consulting with me. Because I tell you, write an entire list of everything you do in the week. Everything. From the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep, write a whole list. Every single thing you do in the week. And then next to that list, a time frame, how long it takes you. And then next to that list, if you were to pay somebody else to do it, how much would it cost? That's very revealing. You find that you actually waste a ton of time on very cheap and affordable things that you could leverage out. You know, like maybe it's laundry and cleaning your house, maybe it's mowing your lawn, maybe it's pulling weeds, whatever it is, things that take up a lot of your time that you really could leverage out. I know a very successful agent in Texas. She felt like she was driving so much and wasting that time that she could be answering emails and writing offers and whatever else. She hired a driver. Now she sits in the back seat and she does all of her work for the 30 minutes she's riding and the 30 minutes back. That's an hour she just gained.
That's brilliant.
Okay. And when you multiply that times
That's brilliant.
100 or 1,000, how much more money can you make writing more offers? And
Wow. My driver was just slow today, that's why I was late.
all right, so get creative on leveraging things. Leverage. Some things can be leveraged with technology. You can automate a system, and that's leverage. That is true leverage. Something that took you 3 hours can take you 30 minutes. That's great. That's good leverage. All right, one story I want to talk to you about. It's not about me. This is the cycling team, the British cycling team back in the day. I don't know all the dates and stuff, but basically they sucked. They were horrible. Okay. Mediocre at best. And they wanted to win Tour de France, which I guess is a big one, right? It's the big one, right? And so they hired a coach, and the coach's methodology was 1% better every day in whatever we can. 1% better every day in everything. That meant softer pillows so that when they wake up, they feel more rested. That meant better count on macronutrients in the day, better carbohydrate, preloading before they cycle and their muscles are cramped. That meant everything they could do all the way down to the nitty gritty. What can we make 1% better today? And how many of you guys would do that in your business and transform your entire business if you just focused on how can I be 1% better today? 1% better. They go on to win 7 in a row Tour de France, by the way. Yeah. Okay. There's a whole story out there for that. Leverage. You can't scale something until you figure out that piece of leverage. Marketing, I'm not going to go into this, but I do want to mention this because it's super important. Marketing is not your logo. Everybody say it out loud. Marketing is not my logo. Nobody cares about your logo. I'm sorry. But what they do care about is your brand identity. When they think of your name, when they think of John Lee, what comes to mind? Dependability, expert, trustworthy, has my interest at heart. They get a mental image when they think about people, and that's your brand. That's your brand identity. Capitalize on it. Capitalize on it.
It could be a slogan.
Could be a slogan.
On your, like, for instance, mine, Randy Stoll.
I loved it.
Communicate, educate, real estate.
I love it. I did. I called Jay and I was like, Jay, I love this so much. I'm stealing it. But I'm in Florida, so we're not competitors.
Yeah.
Right. I know I love it because that's how I do business.
Yeah.
And that resonated with me. And I want people, when they think of me, to think of, man, he's going to educate me on this first time home buyer process. He's going to educate me on how to list my home. And I do. I literally educate them all the way through the process. Whatever your brand is, latch onto it and be intentional about it, because that's what you want to almost indoctrinate people with when they think of you, not your logo, who you are, your identity. That's what marketing really should be. And the more people would understand that, that would change the way that they do Facebook ads and Instagram stuff and Google pay-per-clicks. Think about your identity. What do you want people to think about you? And maybe color is part of it. I mean, like I said, I like feng shui, like color aesthetics is part of it, but it's not the whole thing. The logo is not the whole thing. Okay. And nobody's going to hire you because your logo is cool. I'll mention this as well, since we're in marketing, joint marketing. Anybody in here do joint marketing agreements with vendors? Some of you, lenders, title, inspection, appraisal. You have to be careful with appraisal, but general contractors, plumbers, electricians, right? Listen, you can almost exclusively work business to business and build a successful real estate business. Okay.
And a good branding and marketing platform or scenario with multiple vendors. Okay.
And I do have a whole section about building your vendor list and how to ask for their support. I'll say this quote while I'm here. To get game-changing results, start focusing on game-changing thoughts. I love that. All right. There's a section about events. I'm not going to go through it, but basically the idea is events are part of your business in some capacity. You're right. So just think through that and design them on purpose, all heading towards a goal. And I have a couple more sections. I know this is long and there's a lot of stuff in here, but I'm trying to shake up your entire business and your entire life, not just give you a nice little template that you walk home and you put it on your fridge and say, look, mom, I made a template today. That's not what this is about. This is about rocking your world and changing your business. Okay. So yes, it's long. I want you to go through it. I want you to reflect through it. Communication plan is important. Nobody, I won't say nobody, very few people intentionally design a communication plan. One thing I started doing in my buyer's consultations is I would ask them at the end of the buyer's consultation, how do you like to be communicated with? Is it phone? Is it text? How often? How often do you want updates? Because you might think you're doing a great job calling them every day and they're like, God, I hate this guy. Stop calling me. But you might think you're a rock star. You're going out of your way to call every day. And they don't want that. So the expectation reality gap is a real thing. Set expectation, meet expectation, or exceed expectation, and you get raving fans. But if you don't know what the expectation is on communication, that's actually the number one thing that will crush your reviews is the communication. Okay, communication piece will either create a raving fan or a bad review. Communication is key. Design the plan on purpose and ask questions to your buyers and sellers. How do you like to be communicated with and how often? What do you prefer? Just the fact that you ask that, they're like, wow, that's cool. Like, thanks for asking, right? Sometimes they don't know. They're like, oh, I don't know, whatever. And then you give them a suggestion. You'd say, hey, look, tell you what, I'll connect with you at least once a week while we're listed. If there's anything that happens, I'll fill you in, whatever. Give a suggestion if they don't know. Number 16 is where I come in with all of my boring stuff because this is what I did for the company, but basically building your sphere, or not your sphere, but your standard operating procedures. That's your, what do I do every day? How do I do it? Why do I do it? Okay. And that's if you were to die, could you hand over a binder or a Google Drive and say, here's my whole business. Just take it over. It's all written out. Everything you need. Could you step out of your business right now? Probably not. But if you had a standard operating procedure for everything you did, you could. Takes time. It's not fun. It's the boring stuff, but it's how you build a business. If you were to go make a cookie shop, Randy's Cookies, right? And I have 4 different cooks and they all cook the different ways and all the cookies come out different. And my clients come in, they're like, oh, I really don't like these kind, but I like the ones from yesterday. because I didn't have a system in place. I didn't have standard operating procedures to make the same cookies every day, right? My recipe. So you got to follow my recipe. That's what you are doing is you're building a business and you're creating your recipe for your business. How do I step out of my business and let you keep doing it? Because one day you can hire a director of operations in your business and step out. Think about this. Everybody seen an orchestra or a band, right? All these beautiful musicians playing, they're experts on the flute and the violin and the drums and all this stuff. And then who's directing that? Conductor. Is the conductor playing anything? No. Can the conductor play? Probably was a musician. So yes, probably can play multiple instruments. So he's probably an expert in, or she, in multiple areas. All right. Eventually you want to step out of being the flautist, I think, and you want to be the conductor. And then eventually you want to step off stage and you only want to be there when the music's being played because you're the composer and you're getting paid whether you're there or not. That's the real estate business owner who has laid down all of the standard operating procedures. The recipe is there, how to do it, when to do it, why to do it, all the people that are going to do it. You designed it, you built it, you're getting paid, and you're not even there. Where do you want to be? Do you want to be the flautist forever? Do you want to be the conductor eventually, which is a team leader? Or do you want to be the real estate business owner that is checking in on the conductor? How's it going? How you doing today? How was the last performance? How was the last how were the numbers this past month? Great. Oh, hey, I'm not gonna be available this month. I'm on my boat sipping Mai Tais. So think about what you want to be. All right. All right. Last but not least, create a visual. You have to create a visual of your goals. I encourage making a one-page goal setting. So these are the big rocks. These are the big ones. This isn't the whole action plan. This isn't all the details. This is just the one page of the big goals, the summary of what you're trying to do in 10, 5, 1, 6 months, whatever it's going to be. And it's one page. And I would even suggest blow it up, make it a poster, send it to CVS and get it printed out. Make it nice. Send it to get a canvas printed, whatever it is. That's what's going to drive you in your business, and put it next to your computer. So every time you kind of look up, oh, there it is, right? It's not far. Don't put it in a third bedroom that you never go into. You want to see your goals every day. And I would even venture, and I put some ideas here. Your vision and mission statement should be on the visual. Maybe your top goals, maybe your top core values. We didn't even get into core values, but I believe I hire and fire by my core values. I have 5 core values. And if I feel like you're not in that, you're gone fast. Okay. And my core values are super simple, and it spells group because I'm super original, because RW group is my team. And those core values, and one of them is exceeding expectation. Which sounds kind of crazy. Like, well, how do I know if I'm going to exceed expectations? Because you set a lower expectation and then you exceeded it, right? I tell people now that I'm not going to be at your closing. I'm not going to be at your closing. I'm sorry. But you know what? We'll make sure everything's ready for you. Everything's good. Let me know if you have any issues. Guess what? I show up to the closing anyways. Oh my gosh, you're here. Oh my gosh. You know what? I just came to give you this closing gift. Guys, have a great one, and I'm out in 10 minutes. See ya. Raving reviews. He's so awesome. He came to my closing. He gave me my closing gift. And I go nuts for closing gifts because I really believe in them. Like, I listen to my clients. This is a side topic, but I was just telling a story last night. I had a guy who he can't sweat because he breaks out in hives, which is odd that he lives in Florida. But so I thought, okay, well, mowing your grass in the summer was probably horrible. I paid 6 months of lawn care. He was, he was ecstatic. Holy cow, 6 months of lawn care? Yeah, you don't have to worry about your lawn. It's good, right? Considerate, thinking, thoughtful, right? Be in their lives, be thoughtful, thinking. So set expectations and then exceed them. That's a higher and fireable core value for me. So if you fail to meet your expectations that you set, too many times, you're gone. Right. So think through this, guys. Was this helpful?
Yeah.
Is this good stuff?
Really.
All right. Now you know that the work actually is now beginning. Right? The work is beginning. Now you have to go and you have to take this information and you might have to shed a few tears about it, about some different things in your life. And you might have to get with your spouse or your significant other, or you might have to ask a best friend, hey, will you help me in this? But I guarantee you, if you take some time and do a retreat or a weekend or a nice evening alone or whatever, and you just focus where you want to be in 2022, start small, start with 1 year. If you want to go for the gusto and look at 10 years and then reverse engineer it, awesome. If you need help with that, I'll definitely help you. Okay. I think anybody in this room would help each other if they wanted to. I mean, everybody in here would be like, yeah, I'll help you. It's actually easier for somebody else to see your problems. So sometimes having a friend look at your stuff and say, can you just look at this? Does this make sense? Sometimes that's helpful. Okay.
You also say, can you fix it too?
Can you fix my problems? Yes. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do just really quick. I'm gonna wrap this up, but if you're on Zoom, email me or put your email in the thing. And Scott, you're gonna collect all their emails and we're gonna send you guys the outline, business planning outline. If you want a tracker, you know, your daily habits tracker, let me know. I'll send that to you as well. If you want the lead flow example, I'll send that to you. If you guys want anything else involved in any of this, just ask me. I do this for a living. I give people templates and hey, you should go do this. And here's a place to start, a vendor list. Whatever you want, let me know. I'll give it to you. It's all free. I charge you $0.
Said you're sending the Excel sheet.
Not you, just everybody else. Now, yeah, whatever you guys want, whatever you want, it's all yours. Okay. Listen, here's what I want to do in December. Maybe I'll put it to a vote. December or January to come back together and see if anybody's actually done any of these things. I'm asking you guys, would it be better in December or January? And then we'll chunk it down to which part of the month, and then we'll first week of January, just to see if anybody's going to do some stuff, build their plan. All right.
And then while we're there, are we setting those goals right now?
No, you're going to show up with it done when we meet again.
No, I meant like, okay.
Does that make sense? Okay, so whenever we decide to meet, we'll send out a invite and we'll do it on Zoom because I won't be in New Jersey at that point. I'll be in Florida. Okay, so we'll do a Zoom and listen, we're not going to have time for like everybody sharing their goals, but we can pull out some different things. We can do an hour or two if we need to, and you might want to verify your goals. You might say, hey, look, I got this goal, but I'm having a problem. Should I do this, or this? And I think between the people on the Zoom, we could probably help you with that, whatever it is. Maybe it's action steps. If you need some one-on-one time, hit me up, okay? Script practice, call Jay for that. I don't want. Okay, questions. We're gonna do a little Q&A right now, and then we'll release and let you guys do. What are we doing? Can we all like go eat some food, or how does that work? Does everybody gotta go?
Yeah, it really depends on everyone's schedule.
Okay.
We have a ton of water there.
All right. Let's open it up though. The floor is open. Zoom is open. If you want to open your mic, you can ask anything. And then I'm gonna stop share. I want to see faces. All right. What's going on, guys? Okay, everybody, hey guys, wave in the conference room. They can see you. There you go. So how many people did we have today total?
We had 19 in Zoom, 18 and 19 in Zoom.
18, 19 in Zoom, and then plus the full room here. This has been great. Hey, listen, I really do want to open it up for some Q&A though. If you guys wrote anything down or any profound thought or anything that you're going to do different than maybe you thought you were previously going to do. Let's open it up.
I would just like to make a statement that, like, especially for new agents or even experienced agents, that like.
Hey, Jay, can you lean forward a little bit so they can see you too?
I just want to say for new agents or even experienced agents, as this process is going on and you're building your plans and you're implementing things, just expect you are going to feel uncomfortable, and that's okay. You know, be feeling uncomfortable or being unsure of what you're going to do. You know, real estate is a learning process, but you're also, you know, you're growing your business. But you're also growing personally. And so just remind that. So if you just remember that. So if you feel uncomfortable, it's okay. It means that you're moving in the right direction. So just don't balk as soon as you feel uncomfortable in something.
Can you guys all hear that from the Zoom?
I'm
You could
really
hear Jay?
nodding,
Okay,
so I'm
cool.
just-
I wasn't sure if they could hear it from the distance because I think it's picking up here. Yeah.
I don't know if people could see the glare off my bald head.
No, you're good. You're good. Anybody on Zoom, questions, comments, concerns? You don't have to use the chat box anymore. We're done. You can just open your mic. Not everybody at once.
I would just add to what Jay said. To me, I mean, we're late to the game if we're just doing our business planning right now. So waiting till January, we're already in 2022. We should be having our budgets, everything set by then. So I would challenge you to say, I'm going to do this in the next week, 2 weeks, whatever it is. Really take, because then Thanksgiving and Christmas and life gets crazy. So this is what your entire year is going to look like for next year. So you really owe it to yourself to get it dialed in and get help from everybody around to get it done.
Yeah, and absolutely. And I would even venture to say your next 5 years, your next 10 years, whatever you decide that hey, Matt, there he is. Whatever you decide your vision for your next 5 to 10 years are, and then what the checkpoints are along the way, we need to get started on that. I mean, honestly, if you have plenty of time to waste, go for it. But if you're like me and you don't have time to waste and you need to get on it, let's get on it. Let's do it. Pick a weekend and design your life and then fit the business into your life. Okay. Good stuff.
Yeah, great stuff.
Awesome. Any other questions here in the room or on the Zoom?
I like all that.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
I know you mentioned that anything that can be automated should be. So now tagging off of that, should we make these large strides in trying to like make this work? So when I say that, I mean like financial, let's say financial, depending on the situation, you might be able to do it, but it's kind of pushing it. But at the same time, speaking of if we automate it, it'll make our lives easier, more efficient, and we have more time. So would you say like it's probably best to just try to push for it and go for it and take it from there? Or wait until you know for certain financially that you can automate whatever needs to be automated?
Excellent question. And I will give my 2 cents on this, and then I'll open it up for other people to put their 2 cents as well. I would say don't put yourself at financial risk. But I also don't know your financial situation. If you can invest in your business, you should, but that doesn't mean at peril or at extreme hardship. Okay. There are some things you can do, even if it's inefficiently, to get business coming in. And then once you do have a good system for flowing business, that will take care of itself, because then you'll be like, oh, I got plenty of money to do this now. You can sell a lot of properties. I just told you about a story of a guy who's 93 transactions down in South Jersey. He doesn't even use a CRM. Love you, Carlo, if you're hearing that, right? I'm just saying, like, you can do things inefficiently and still be successful, and he's still making plenty of money. I'm just saying eventually you'll want to smooth out the curve there and get rid of inefficiencies as much as possible. So does that help answer the question?
Can I
Most certainly. Yeah.
Jay wants to touch on it too. Go ahead, Jay.
I mean, just if you're new and you don't want to obviously, I want to answer, just if I'm off topic, let me know. But you want to.
I am brand new, by the way.
Okay, great.
Okay, good to know.
There's tons of tools, especially through KB Core, with setting up automated email systems and platforms like that. There's so many tools within our CRM that you could implement before you have to go spend anything. And say you wanted to do, I mean, even say you wanted to get outside of KB Core, like for instance, MailChimp. If you're doing any kind of mass emailing, MailChimp is free up to 2,000 contacts. So there's so many different options. So that's why I say, like, always there's always free options out there before you go buy anything. And also there's a lot of, you know, if there's also cheap data out there. If you do want, there is some cheap data that you can get to, you know, get numbers and phone calls and a dialer. So there's definitely inexpensive things you can implement off of that. So, and we can touch on those on another call if you'd like.
Absolutely. I'll piggyback on saying that you can have almost zero expenses as a new licensee by just talking to your sphere of influence.
Yeah.
If you will just hammer in a good way your sphere of influence, you'll churn out business without spending a penny.
Yeah. Ready?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Ray, go ahead.
Hi, Destiny.
Thank you.
Hi, Destiny.
Hello.
So basically, as a new agent, I mean, up until like, I've been in the business 7 years, up until like 2 years ago, I started actually spending money. So a lot of it had to do with the sphere of influence, right? And just relationships with mortgage people. That was kind of like my bread and butter for a long time. And with those one customer they give you, you build that relationship. Now they're all of a sudden they're in your sphere and you work in those things. And there's a lot of lead sources online that you don't have to pay for. I mean, technically, because some of them do charge like maybe 25%, which would be like a referral I would give John, but John doesn't like my referrals. But anyway, but these are things you can do on your own and just network with people. You know, this year I decided I'm going to network with tax people who do taxes. I started meeting with them, and I met this one lady who said, these 5 people here are ready to probably list their home, right? You know, so these are things that I do outside the box in a way. I don't invest in Zillow and anything else like that. You know, I have tried the Facebook stuff. It's okay. You know, it's not that expensive. Some of them are good. Most of the time, the quality of the leads are not that great. But you know, like I said, the last 2 years. So, you know, have confidence in your people's skills and meeting people. That's what helped me build, you know, what I have today. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna add one more thing. You want to be for your database or like your sphere. If you're a brand new agent, you could like reach out to them or shoot a text message and say, hey, are you curious at how much your home is worth? I'll do a free CMA for you. And you can do that. You literally can do that and just start, and that starts the conversation. And it doesn't cost anything. Like, hey, are you curious of what your home is worth in this crazy market? And I'll run the comp so we can talk about it. And that just opens the door. It's free, it's easy, and you're learning how to do a CMA and how to price properties. So you're learning and you're growing at the same time your database. So
Yeah, absolutely. And just to use another analogy, if you ever looked at a football team, you know who the people who set the bench are because all of their jerseys are clean and they had no contact with anybody. So in this, it's a contact sport. You've got to get your jersey dirty, right? Which means you're making calls, you're in front of people, you're doing things, you're building relationships. And if you're sitting at home and not doing any of those things, your jersey is clean and you're not getting any business because they're not just going to pick up the phone and call you. You're going to have to get out there and make contact in some way. Okay.
That was great. Thank you so much to everyone. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up. But hey, listen, you've all got on the bottom of my document a few minutes ago, you saw my website, REALTYexplains.com. That has my contact information on it. So if you want that, or if you just want to ask me in the email or whatever, we'll send you guys an email. You can reply, ask anything, stay connected. REALTYexplains.com. Yeah, but there's without the space, but yes. Okay. Hey, listen, I had a lot of fun teaching this stuff. I'm going to be doing it again in December, the same type of thing, but I do want to make sure that people are following up and held accountable. So get yourself an idea of when you're going to finish this and let's meet back up. Okay. I'm going to post this recording on YouTube. If you want to go back and watch anything, you can. Okay. All good stuff.
Thank you.